Hey, it's Bix Weir coming to you with a summary from Acapulco. Beautiful place. Beautiful place. Look at that. I've been working the whole time, of course. Of course, no way. Had so much fun with some friends here. Bill Murphy. Haven't seen Bill in a long time. Years. 2 years about. Because we've both been banned from the Silver Summit because we talked about conspiracies. Conspiracies that are open knowledge now, admitted in court by Deutsche Bank, CFTC does nothing about. And yet, the lovely organizers of the Silver Summit refuse to let me or Bill speak there. So be it. You know, this is America, free will. You can have who you want speak, and I wish them the best of luck with their old school way of thinking. Another guy down here was David Morgan. I love David because he's establishment. He's silver establishment. But he's not afraid to say, yeah, these markets are rigged. He tells me all the time, I can't say much about the rigging because he has a lot of clients who are mainstream, but definitely, 100%, it's been proven. You were right, Gata was right, and I'm glad that Bill came down here. This is all about anarchy down here and throwing off the bad guys that control our lives. It really sank in over these last few days with these amazing people and amazing speakers talking about new ways to live. You believe that? A new way to live where you don't have to kowtow to the banksters. You have to bail them out every 4 to 8 years, which we are coming up on, by the way. For those of you who have not been keeping an eye on what's going on, I haven't been in the United States for the last couple of days, but the debt ceiling is approaching quickly. March 15th, they have to have a deal in place. If they don't have a deal in place, then the U.S. doesn't default right away, but we have about $2 billion left. We burn it at about $75 billion a month. If you calculate out, what does that take us into June, July? And yes, they have always extended and always renewed. There have been times when they were flirting with it. And the interesting thing is usually the Republicans were the ones who were trying to pull the debt ceiling card against the Democrats. And now, when you think about it, you still got all the Democrats who are going to do anything against Trump. Trump has this huge budget he's trying to get through. But you still have some Republicans who are going to say, no, we can't raise the debt ceiling. You're fiscally irresponsible. I think it's all part of the plan. It's part of the plan to destroy the U.S. dollar. Trump has said it many times he wants a weak dollar, and that's a great way to do it, is to default or even have any kind of inkling of a possible default. Do I think ultimately the U.S. will default? Probably, but I don't think it'll matter by that point in time. I don't expect the debt ceiling to be up to renewed or postponed on the 15th. I think it'll continue to linger, the problem, as it sucks down the $200 billion that the U.S. government has. And one of the interesting things is that the $200 billion of kind of extra funds after the 15th, it comes out of the Treasury, shifting things around, shifting payments around. But one of the big things that we learned last time this kind of emergency happened is they drained the Exchange Stabilization Fund of its money. So that's exactly where they rigged the gold and silver markets. So I would love to see no deal by the 15th, and they drain all that manipulation money out of the Exchange Stabilization Fund. Now, they still use derivatives to control our markets, but it would put them in a weaker position, which is exactly where we want these market riggers to be. Keep an eye on that. I'll talk more about it when I get home, when my mindset is in that. Right now, my mindset's on Bitcoin, alternative ways to use money to deal with transactions outside of the system. Bitcoin is obviously the price is going crazy, which is great. It's approaching the price of gold, which is a huge historic moment, and you'll see a lot of talk about, wait a minute, what about using Bitcoin as a world's reserve currency? Go right around the bad guys who would love to have gold as a world's reserve currency because they own most of the gold. But what about Bitcoin? It's not, as far as I know, most of the Bitcoin's not owned by the central banks. Now, there are bankers in there trying to get their hands on it. They're manipulating it just like they manipulate everything else. But it is out there. It is more decentralized than anything else we have. Really interesting conversation and debate, really, between Roger Ver, the Bitcoin Jesus, and this guy Tone Vays, who I am not a fan of. Absolutely not. I've seen his videos. Andy Hoffman did a video with him. I think he's an asshole, first of all. Let's be blunt about it. I told him that the other night at the bar. I'm talking to this guy. I'm like, you don't get it. It's not all about you. It's not all about the big money. It's about the people getting a way to transact business, getting it into their hands. And because this guy Tone Vays is advocating, along with the other banks and rich people, the scaling problem in Bitcoin. They want to do something that it's called SegWit. And yes, it's going to increase the speed of the transactions, but it's going to jack the cost through the roof. $100 for a Bitcoin transaction, things like that. Just insanity. Roger Ver, who knows everything there is to know about the situation, debated with him, and they're both really smart when it comes to the computer side of it and what's going on. Very strong opinions. I'm on Roger's side, by far. Let's stick to what Satoshi Nakamoto wanted and desired for Bitcoin. Ease of transaction, very low fees for every single transaction. I'm not about hiding money away and the bankers being in charge of any third party. I don't care if they're a bunch of really smart scientists, computer scientists. Let's keep it in the hands of the people. Stick with Satoshi's original idea about all this. And I think at some point Tone Vays even said, Satoshi didn't even know about programming. He wasn't a good programmer. Give me a break. Go home, Tone. Go home to whatever you do, which nobody really knows what he does or what he did. I always loved guys like that. I used to get him in silver all the time, the leading expert. But I talked to this guy in the bar, and it wasn't about Bitcoin. It was about trading and market manipulation. And I'm like, he said, oh, yeah, you got to short at this point, short silver and short gold. I go, what happens if it runs away from you and, you have unlimited losses potentially in gold and silver? And he's like, oh, that's my brokerage house's problem to deal with. I don't have any assets because they're all hidden away in Bitcoin, so they can never come get me. And I say, well, I'll raise my hand that you're the first guy that goes to jail forever. How's that, buddy? And everybody was cracking up. And it's true. I mean, the morality of this guy is nada, zero. Whereas Roger Ver is the most upstanding citizen you can find. And he cares about what he's doing. And so spread the word. Go with Roger. Go with Roger. And Roger's, he supports the BTC Unlimited. So it's the segregated witness and BTC Unlimited. Segregated witness, boo, boo. that's Tone Vays. Roger Ver, yay, yay. Bitcoin, BTC Unlimited. Back to Satoshi Nakamoto, whose birthday actually is in a couple days. The Bix Weir version of Satoshi. The guy who invented the electronic assets birthday is on March 6th, and he turns 91. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go to Roto-Rooter and you can find out who Satoshi is, I think. I know he was involved. Is there a single person that invented the Bitcoin white paper? I don't think so. I think the CIA was involved, but definitely Ruta was in there. There's no doubt in my mind. The other things I wanted to say, spent a lot of time with some great people, amazing people. A lot of Roto-Rooter customers and followers who have been on this road for so long came up to me and said, hey, it's so awesome what you've done and what you're doing, and can we talk? And we talked for an hour or two over beers, and it was great. And I love seeing everybody, and there's so many smart people down here. I wish everybody could have been down here, and hopefully we'll do a live telecast. I don't know if Jeff Berwick. By the way, Jeff, thank you so much for putting this together, because you can't get this kind of, a guy in a suit over here, a guy in a dreadlock over here, and someone in a fancy dress and someone in ripped jeans over here. But all coming together and all talking about the economic system, the health system, the monetary system, the way forward, how society can actually move forward with great ideas. Foster Gamble was here of the Thrive movement. All these people getting together in one place, it was unbelievable. So thank you for that. I wish I could stay longer, but I do have a little reality back home I got to deal with. Also, hung out with Gus Demos and Will Lair from Perpetual Assets. if you haven't done it yet, if you have a 401k or an IRA that you can do a rollover in, call them. Call them, because you can roll it over, put it without any fees or penalties, be your own manager of your IRA, and you are the boss of your metal. You can invest in anything you want. I invested in physical silver and Bitcoin that you can keep in your own possession. Yes, you can buy Bitcoin and hold it in your 401k or your self-directed IRA. But you got to be able to roll it over. So most likely, if you're still actively working for the company that holds your 401k, usually you can't do a rollover there. But if you're not, if you have the ability to roll it over, you got to get it out of the system into your own hands. My recommendation is always silver and Bitcoin. You know that if you watch my stuff. You can keep your silver in your own hands. You can keep your Bitcoin in your own hands on a paper wallet or some kind of electronic storage device, which always scares me because I can't see it. I like to see it, and I know how to protect it. So, call Will, call Gus, perpetualassets.com. Great guys. Hanging out with Dale Olmstead with the Silverback credit card, which I signed up for. So we're all good to go with that. And it's literally a credit card that you can use, a debit card that is backed by your own silver that he holds for you. Yeah, it's a third party. Don't put all your silver into this thing. But if you're going to use a debit card anyway, why not use it with a silver backing? That silver can come in and come out, and you own it. It's not in your possession. He does the storage. So you don't want to do a life savings, but you do want to, if you have to use a debit card, which we all have to do these days, it's a great way to participate in both, because you can get the upside of the silver, obviously the volatility, but I think it'll be mostly upside from here on out. And you can still, you don't have to keep all your money in the bank, and you don't want to do that. So I'll put his website up on my. Actually, I'm going to do a big long interview with him once I start using the card and figure out the ins and outs. We're going to have an interview, and I'll tell all you guys about it. It should be a really great thing to have, and a great discussion piece to say, hey, I just spent $30 in silver at this restaurant, and they're like, well, how'd you do that? Here's my card. So that was great, and 2 thumbs up to Will's wife and to Dale's wife. Will's wife, Erica and Amy, hung out with me and my Amy last night in Acapulco. Unbelievable time. We went downtown, because this resort's a little farther out. But we went downtown and just had a blast. Watched the sunset, had some tequila, walked the streets, walked the little markets. So much fun, and they're such sweet people. Ended up at this taco place, as you always do, right, when you're in Mexico, and had some of the best tacos ever, overlooking the beach for like 12 cents a taco. It was ridiculous. But great fun down here. I'm going to miss the time I had. I'll give more updates later, but the things I want everybody to think about and watch, and I've got a special report coming out on, is this March 15th debt ceiling and the potential for the real kind of chaos to happen and start. There's been many times when it could happen, and the last big one was 2008, and it kind of started with the debt ceiling problems, and then Lehman, and then Bear Stearns, and then click, 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 and that's the way it happens. This is happening right when Europe is imploding, so yeah, we're at that time again. And then the question you got to ask yourself is, okay, if they go back to Congress and they ask for a bailout, this time it will be probably $30 to $40 trillion, not the $700 billion, just to bail out everybody. And I don't think Congress is not ready, willing, and able to do that. Republicans control it now, obviously, so no, there will be no bailout. So then you got to think about the consequences of no bailout. And what happens to the monetary system? What was the big plan? It gets back to Ruta's plan. Run the system in long and hard as you can, sucking up all the benefits of fiat money. And then when it's too big and too overblown and there's way too much debt, which we have right now, blow the system and start fresh. And that's that moment that you have to be ready and able to deal with. Nobody will have everything taken care of. There will be chaos. But it's something we have to go through. We put it off long enough, and I think March 15th is a great date to look at and say, oh my God, I should have everything done, all my preparations, all my silver in my hand, Bitcoin in my hand, dried food, you name it, guns, and ready for chaos any time between March and, any time between March and the end of the year. I do think it'll really kick into high gear in March, and it'll just get worse progressively. More and more and more problems, especially coming out of Europe, and then it'll go right back to us because all our banks, the big banks, Citibank, J.P. Morgan, they're knee deep in European derivatives. So contagion is unbelievable. That's my update from lovely Acapulco. You want to say it one more time? I know David Morgan and Dale live in up in Washington, and they're getting snow right now. So David left yesterday, and I don't know when Dale's going home, but they're both saying, "Oh my God, I got back to snow," and we're sitting here. So thank you for listening. Go out there and get your silver, get your Bitcoin in order because chaos is on the way. And I'll talk to you later.